Welcome back to the Bear Down Abroad podcast with me, Ant in Gothenburg. It is roasting here. My bald red head is absolutely roasted, but I have my cap to cover me. I'm well sorted. And today we're joined by one of our good friends, one of my close friends, to talk about some Chicago Bears stuff. There's no one better to talk Chicago Bears. I know it's hot in Chicago. Don't know if it's hot in Scotland, but I'm sure Tony will tell us. But you don't want to be listening to me when we talk about Caleb Williams. Forget your World Cup soccer. Forget all the Gaelic football going on out there. Forget all that. Join us for 45 minutes to an hour. Get involved. Don't forget to follow the show. And you know what? Tony, hit it.
Welcome in to the Bear Down Abroad podcast, guys. How you getting on? It's been we didn't do a show last week, so it's been a couple of weeks since we've been on the screen, on your TV, on your phone, whatever it is that you watch us on. So it's good to be back. Not a lot of extra Bears things have happened since we last left you, but we will find the news to talk about. But first and foremost, as Ant's already said, we're joined by Ryan Dengel. Ryan, how you doing, man? It's great to have you on. We haven't had you on a show with you and Ant in, I don't even know how long. It's probably been at least a couple of years, I would imagine.
Man, so when the Bear Down Chicago podcast went away, it was so much work. I know you guys know this, like how much time and effort goes into like putting your stuff out there. And I was like, okay, we're putting it away. We're stacking it up. Then the 2025 season happens. Caleb goes crazy, right? We go to the playoffs. We beat the Packers twice. I'm sitting at home going, I kind of miss the podcast thing. I'm not going to lie. So truly, boys, thank you for the invite. It's Tony, I think you're right, dude. I think it's been years since we've been sitting down talking Bears together.
Yeah. Ryan is one of them. Was that Tony, we always say this when we went over to that terrible Washington game, but an amazing experience in Chicago that we had. And Ryan is one of the really, really good guys, believably knowledgeable guy. And it's just brilliant to have you on the show. It's been crazy. It's been quiet time now, which is strangely enough when we get back involved in podcast world, but it's been pretty quiet now. But let's look back at 2025 for a second. You say you haven't really had a chance to voice your thoughts on what 2025 meant to you, but as a lifelong Chicago person, as a lifelong Bears fan, what did 2025 mean to you?
So thank you, guys. I'm going to say that probably about 100 times. Thanks for having me on. And I love your question, dude. You're right, because now it's kind of sit and kind of had a time to process. I was at the Bears game when against the Rams. I've never been so cold in my entire life. I had every layer on imaginable, and one of my very good friends, one of my best friend actually was best man at my wedding. I was the best man in his wedding. He got us tickets at the last second, and we walked to the game and we went, and he's walking out with his arm around me. He's like, man, I'm so sorry. Like I this must be devastating. And I was like, no, it's not. Like a playoff loss that they took the Rams to overtime. I saw probably the best throw in Chicago Bears history. Boys, I've told this story a million times, but I haven't told it on a podcast. So we're in the opposite end zone, right, for the throw. And he's just running backwards. And you hear one guy over the side go, what's he doing? And then you just hear everyone gets quiet and someone goes, there's someone in the end zone. He chucks it up there, and I'm getting chills, just thinking about it again. Do you know what I mean? I've never felt Soldier Field shake. It was shaking. It was unbelievable. And to get to experience that, and watch Caleb beat the Packers twice, it was special. It was truly, truly special. Yeah, they didn't win the Super Bowl, man, but I don't know. It just a huge success. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. I'm going on way too long, but it was really special. And thank you for the question, dude.
Rant away, man. Just rant. That's listen, we've got a famous ranter on our show every week, and So don't hold back. You're absolutely grand. But no, listen. For me, last season was just there was just so many special moments that happened, and it was so great to see our quarterback, just be one of those guys that people are talking about for all the right reasons. We're that used to people talking about our QBs for the things that we're not doing, and will they get to X number of yards and all this kind of stuff, and fair enough, we didn't get the 4,000-yard passing or whatever, but there were so many things that Caleb Williams was doing last year that was just phenomenal. And when you think about, the fact that this is only the second year of him in the league, it's only the first year with Ben Johnson in that offense, playing with the guys that he's playing with, especially those receivers. The future's looking bright. I would say there. What are your and we'll kind of get into what Caleb Williams might be this year, but what are your sort of initial thoughts of going from last year with Caleb into this year with the changes that have been made to the offense, whether that be personnel or like coaches, that type of, what are your thoughts in terms of where he might be after the transition there?
It's harder when there's sort of a target on your back, and I know not a lot of Bears fans want to talk about that, but do I think that they have this magical run that they had this season? No, but I mean, you have a superstar. You have a superstar at quarterback who, Tony, I love that you brought up. It was only his second year in the NFL. It was only his first year, with Ben Johnson, and just thinking about Ben Johnson had to sort of rein in all the things that he wanted to do. Think about how many years it took for the Lions offense to really just sort of explode with Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator. It's going to take some time. These guys are still sort of learning that offense. And I know that they threw a lot at him in training camp to kind of see, could he do it? But this is different. You know what I mean? This is an opportunity to the language is not going to be so foreign to him. He's going to be kind of knowing what some of these checks are and some of the things that he wants to do. I know we talk a lot about efficiency, and no one's going to say that Caleb was efficient. Do you know what I mean? I don't think any Bears fan with their eyes open is going to say that he was efficient, but I think the possibility of that coming too is the thing that is really exciting to me. I'm terrified, Tony, about this defense. I don't like to be the most negative Bears fan on the planet, but I think this defense, especially the defensive line, might be bottom 5 in the NFL, and that's kind of scary. But I think offensively, it might be fun, really, really fun to watch this year.
I agree. I get your point around defensive line, especially. I think anyone with a set of eyes will agree with that. What I do think the Bears did, I disagree with people who say, well, they should have done this, they should have done this, they should have done this in the draft. Show me the players they should have got and the contracts they should have got. What they have done, though, is they got unbelievably faster. And I think, and I've been saying it on this show regularly, they will be blitzing from everywhere. And that's where the frustration with Kyler Gordon comes from, because Kyler Gordon was a massive part of that. And therefore, without him, you're losing another player who's going to create that pressure from inside out. It also shows why they've got Gallimore. Not saying he's a great player. I'm just saying that he will give opportunities by blocking people up front to allow people coming from everywhere. That's where I think our defense will get a little bit better. I think it'll get run on. I think we won't get at the quarterback as much as we can if we don't have the fits that I was speaking about. I do agree with that. But as a Bears fan, I will take that all day long if our offensive play is showing what we played last year. I really do believe that. I think our offense with our head coach, who is a genius, we've got the best quarterback in the division, in my opinion. We've got the best guard almost in football. We've got a tackle in Darnell Wright, who I think is probably the best right tackle we've had in a long, long time. And we've got wide receivers, and we've got tight ends. Keep going. I think where you might find Bears fans being shot in a weird format is we may see games that are 35-32, like it was against the 49ers last year.
Yeah.
I think we might find a lot of those games, and whether we're good enough defensively to hold out enough to get there. On the flip side, and Tony, I'll bring you on this one, the Rams game last year that you were at, Ryan, defensively, we had them in a little bit of a pickle. Like we only, I don't know what the final score was. I don't know how much they scored, but I don't think it was at over 19. And I think there is little signs. And yeah, would we have liked to have got Max Crosby? Yes. Would we have liked to have got a big name edge rusher? For me, defensive tackle? Yes. But it's I think they will find different ways to cause us problems or cause other teams problems. And I don't rate the Packers as much as people are rating them. I think the Lions, I'm not too massively on. I'm actually more worried about the Vikings, if I'm honest. I think the Vikings are a little bit of a dark horse there. I think Kyler Murray, yeah, not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's better than what they had last year. And if he'd been their quarterback last year, they probably get into the playoffs. So it's an interesting shout. So Tony, what's your take on, before we get into Caleb? I know your favorite subject, but what's your take on the defense right now?
Yeah, listen, I share the same concerns as Ryan has raised there. I think there are some improvements that have been made, no doubt, in terms of getting speed there. I like the first round pick for definite. I think that's going to be an instant impact player in Thieneman. I think if you got Jalen Johnson coming back, you get a full season of Jalen Johnson and he plays at the level that we know that he can, then great. Kyler Gordon's situation concerns me though, where is he actually going to be available to play a lot this season at all? Tariq Stevenson has been up and down through his career in Chicago. Which one is it going to be this year? Obviously, we've got Malik Muhammad come in the fourth round. Could do something there. So defensive back wise, I'm thinking it could be okay. It depends. It depends really on how things go. We've lost a lot of really good players, a lot of guys that contributed a lot of positive statistics towards the team in terms of takeaways and things like that. So hopefully we can replicate that again this year. I think in terms of your linebacker situation, it's looking pretty good. I think we're probably the deductions from the team have been equaled out with the guys that were brought in. So I'm not concerned about that. But it comes back to that defensive line. That's the one that really, really concerns me. And I think we're sort of throwing all our eggs in one basket with the Austin Booker thing. And can Austin Booker be that guy across from Montez Sweat? I don't know. I mean, I don't think we have a lot of evidence to say that he definitely can on an every down basis. I know Montez Sweat has been, he had a decent season last year, but he's not exactly been a stellar pass rusher for us since he's been there. So, I've said it on previous episodes. I think Ryan Poles is gambling on the investments that he's made in the previous seasons, especially the interior offensive line, defensive line rather, and those guys sort of coming along and making the next step. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We've got a long way to go before we actually see what happens. Obviously, we're going to have training camp coming up soon, a couple of weeks' time. So that'll be an interesting one. Ryan, are you heading on to training camp at all at any point? Have you got tickets for any of the
I am. It was insane getting tickets, but yes, a good friend of mine, we're gonna go with his kids. Shout out to Ryan Drost, Bears Over Beers, for helping me out to figure out logistics and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, August 4th, I'll be headed there. It's just crazy. Like I've had a chance to go, like you see Hallis Hall sort of on like all the videos and stuff that the Bears kind of put out, and then a chance to kind of be there. I know a lot of people want to see it back at Bourbonnais, but I don't know, man, I might be one of the few people that really likes it in Lake Forest. So I'm stoked. Yeah. I'm stoked to see Bears playing football.
And what's that like? What's the Hallis Hall experience like? So when you go out there, give us a rundown of when you get there.
It's a little bit crazy. So what you got to do is you actually drive to a mall, because when Hallis Hall was built, it was not built to house, a couple thousand people that are there. And then you've got a long walk where you walk past the Walter Payton Center, which is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful facility. You can see that's their indoor facility that they kind of work in with bad weather and all that sort of stuff. And then you walk to the practice facility, which is there's a couple, turf football fields, and you're looking at Hallis Hall, just like you see, every time the Bears put out any kind of promo video. When we were there last time, it was really cool because, there's like quarterback drills that are sort of like really up close to you. You see some special teams plays over that happen sort of over there. And then, when they start doing 11-on-11 drills, man, then it's just like, it's worth every bit of it. It's really cool experience that you can get free tickets. But like I said, man, people like, I found out for me, like the thing closed after 8 minutes. So Bears tickets opened at 10 a.m. and by 10:08, everything was sold out. You know what I mean? And I think that happens even when the Bears are terrible. And now think about how much different it is because they're a really, really good football team. So it's going to be, I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah, when Daz Newsome used to be running out of Hallis Hall, there was free tickets everywhere. So yeah, I fully get times have changed. Yeah, I think from us over here in Europe, we don't get to see that experience. I get that experience, but we kind of see it. I know the Bears kind of, which is one of my big rants that I'm sure I'll have in a couple of weeks' time, is around how they hold on to all the videos and don't allow you to record stuff. Is it as bad as that? Are they very restrictive as to what you can say and do? Are they open about that? Have you seen anything like that before? Or?
I know that they're more of like social media hunters. So if you like sort of post things, but I think a lot of that stuff ends up getting posted anyway. To be honest, man, I look back the last time I was at camp and I have a couple pictures and videos and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff I didn't end up posting because it's like, it's just drills. Do you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't necessarily give a whole lot away. And I don't think they're, if it's a closed practice, that's when they're sort of like giving like, hey, here's a game plan and that sort of stuff. Otherwise it's like, it's so vanilla. But yeah, I that's just not I hear what you're saying, Ant, but it's also too just something like, I guess I'm not necessarily thinking about as much as more of just like, you are up close and personal. And the really cool thing, like I said, I'm going to be going with a buddy of mine and his 2 kids, and they don't even know yet. And so like, we're just going to roll up. And when it happened, like watching it through them, as well as like, we're both Bears fans, it's like that part of it is, I think, going to be even more fun.
Hopefully they're not watching and you've ruined the surprise.
Well, he has said the friend's name.
Dad might, kids. I don't think they're watching.
He's got loads of friends, so he's fine. It could be any of those friends with kids.
Could be anybody. Could be anybody.
It's not my kids. I can tell you that straight away.
Sorry, buddy. We can't fly you out.
No, we can't. Tallybrand Co. aren't Rob and Tallybrand Co. aren't that level yet. They promised me in a 2 years' time when they're minted, they'll fly me and Tony out, but that'll be a long time.
Just as a quick timeout, they're amazing. It's so good. My hat's on the way. I totally forgot my shirt. Dude, like for anybody that's watching and you don't have it, what are you doing? Like, go get it. It's so good.
They sent me stickers.
Yeah. I've got loads of them.
Loads of them. There's millions of them, right? And then I got my girlfriend to put on the hat and got the photograph. So I was going to send it to Rob, and she got upset because the photograph, she didn't look good in it or whatever. So it's just me promoting Tallybrand Co. But I'm trying to get my Swedish girlfriend to do the same as well.
It's awesome.
So that's my goal.
My wife's been cutting about with the FGB hat on for the last couple of weeks, so that's now her hat, and that's fine. And anytime she's trying to explain the acronym to anybody, it's sort of like, well,
feel good.
But if you can wear it anywhere outside of like Chicagoland and Wisconsin, because most people aren't going to know what that means. But then, I don't know that I would wear that one when I'm taking my little girls to Milwaukee Zoo.
No, I would advise you not to do that.
Though, like it surprised you though. Like, so there's a guy who lives 2 doors down the street from me who's a Bears fan. And I was in the supermarket the other day. There's a guy walking about with a Brian Urlacher jersey on. Do you know what I mean? Like it spreads really wide and far, and it's not like, I don't live in a city. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's everywhere. Especially, I mean, the NFL is absolutely everywhere now.
But Tony, excuse me if I'm wrong, like, especially of an older generation, especially in the UK, especially in Scotland, like a lot of those games started being broadcast in the 80s when the Bears were really good. And then that sort of like left a love of the Bear. Am I wrong on that? Like,
yeah. 100%. I think it's a combination of where the Bears were in the 80s. And then on top of that as well, see, if you think about like all the sort of movies that came out. So like the John Hughes movies in the 80s and the 90s, and everything was like someone had a Bears hat on or a Bears jersey, and it's like it just stuck in people's head. And it's like then possibly people sit down to watch a game one day, and it's like, oh, I've seen the Bears on that film. Maybe I'll watch. And all of a sudden you develop a fandom out the back of it, which is mad. Like,
I also think it's Jordan. I think there's a big kick with the Bulls.
Yeah, sure.
And Jordan and the Bulls, and suddenly people are like, oh, Chicago's going to be kind of my city with that whole phenomenon that was that Bulls run. I think the Bears kind of fell into that a little bit. For me personally, we've said the story those times about I was one of those guys where the only sport on TV when I was growing up was American football for some weird reason, and Walter Payton, and what he was doing was what jumped to me. And then it was Chicago, big city, big fan base. But yeah, we went to the London game, Ryan, and the London game was a home game for the Bears. It was 95%. Normally those London games are like 50%, where it's like 50% random fans just go to have the experience, and then some for the home team, some for the away team. The London game was 90% Bears, minimum. It was a full house. And it was just, everyone was coming from everywhere. There was people coming from Germany, I obviously came from Sweden, Tony came from Scotland, Ireland, the UK. I think people in America, especially in Chicago, not especially in Chicago, but in Chicago, not that they don't realize it, but it's something that always blows them away that you're a local kid. So you're used to being a Bears fan and you're used to it. But there is such a massive fan base over here that would, over in Europe, for big teams. So you'd find the Bears, you'd find some good few Packers fans, Cowboys, obviously, now Kansas City Chiefs. So anyone that got into it recently with the Red Zone would have been live on a sports channels every Sunday. Chiefs become big, or the Eagles become big. So you see regularly, not so much baseball, not so much basketball anymore, actually. It's all football. And we just happen to be Bears connection.
And our buddy Ozzy, right? Mike Osterwick from Melbourne, Australia, who's coming to his first Bears game. He's traveling all the way across the world. And Tony, to your point, John Hughes movies. He's like watching all these John Hughes movies. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of curious, like that Bears hat, like what's up with that, and I am so excited for him to like experience it. I know you guys both got to be there and it was fun, because I've been to so many games, and it's always a great experience, but watching it through your guys' eyes was so much more fun because, about all the experiences because your point is so well made, right? And you're so connected to the team, but to experience it, for that first time and like, to know like, oh, the FGB chant that happens in the tunnel on the way there, like you guys got that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm so excited for his trip to the States. One, to hang out with him, but two, for like him to experience that for the first time. It's gonna be so much fun.
All I'll say, I hope it's warmer than what we experienced. And I hope he's not in the fucking top end of the stands. Corey, I love you to death if you're watching. But my God, the tickets were like, it was the coldest experience, the worst game, right? But still,
it wasn't even that cold.
Well, for me,
no, man, it was so cold.
Little bald paddy head, I had 4 layers on, and Ryan's going, oh, it's mild outside. I'm like, no, it's bald.
We're built different here, man.
Yeah,
it's just,
my testicles went back into my body. Let's just put it that way.
We can't do it, man. Like, we come from very wet climates. It gets quite cold, right? It rains more than it does anything else, right? But that level of cold, like I remember going to so I've got a ton of family in the States and in Canada. I remember going to Canada, and I was at my uncle's house. It was about an hour and a half north of Toronto, and it was January. And me, my mum and dad were like, "Oh, we're just going to head out for a bit." And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll give you a lift. Where you going?" I was like, "No, we'll just walk." And he's like, "What do you mean you're going to walk?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to walk. Why wouldn't we walk somewhere? Like, we're going to walk." He's like, "All right, as long as you're sure." So we got out of the house, got to the end of the driveway, and I turned around at my dad and I said, "Let's go back. This was the worst time ever." Like, I had icicles hanging out my nose, and my beard, and I was like, "Yeah, we're not used to this stuff, man. Like, it just rains where we are most of the time." So
it'll be like 36 Celsius here over the next couple of days, and then it'll be negative 25 Celsius in the wintertime, and so like it's unbelievable. But when Ozzy's going to be here, like end of September, October, truly, it is one of the most beautiful places on the planet Earth. trees, all that sort of stuff. I people are listening right now. They don't want to hear about the weather in Chicago, but dude, I'm stoked for him.
Yeah, well, it's as I said before you came on, it's heat stroke over here in Sweden. So I'm I'm not a fan of it. I had the fan on. I had to turn it off before the show. So if I start sweating and melting away, ignore me. We should really move on and talk about our topic, even though I love talking to Ryan.
Before you do though that, I want to just, because we've been talking about the hats, we've been talking about the stickers. So just to reiterate to everybody, we're officially in partnership with Tally Brand. So make sure that you jump onto their website. Lots of really cracking stuff on there. I should actually get some like photos of things and put them up on the screen while I'm talking about this, or maybe make an actual video about it. I haven't got around to doing it, but I've got Ant here as my glamorous assistant wearing one of the lovely hats that you can see there. And of course, if you go onto the Talibrand website and you almost gave away your address there, Ant.
Yeah, I turned that away pretty quick.
You'll be getting stalked by all the Bear Down Abroad fans. You go to the Talibrand website. There's Dengel has as well. That's nice. That's a nice shirt, man. Use the discount code abroad and you will get free shipping, and you also get free stickers as well. The stickers have been on the screen already, but they're definitely cracking stickers, so you should absolutely go on there and check out it.
And Rob is a good guy. On all his stuff he sends, he puts a note at the back of the envelope, and he says your name on it and all stuff like that. He's a top guy, very knowledgeable Bears fan as well, and we must get him on the show. Actually, I saw him on another podcast.
Just hold on a wee second. What did Rob say to you in your message? I want to see if your message was nicer than mine.
Hi, Ant. You're the best presenter on the Bear Down Abroad podcast. Regards, Rob.
Well, that's fucking weird because he said that to me as well. Jesus Christ. Anyway. So sorry, and I spoke over you there. Crack on. What were you going to say there?
We should really. We're 26 minutes in, and I'm sure Ryan, knowing the professional that he is, has information ready to go about Caleb Williams. Unlike me and Tony, who wing it every single time we do an episode. Yeah. So let's talk about our quarterback. The days of the Civil War in Chicago is well gone. The winners was Tony's team. Let's just leave it at that. And it's for me, it's exceptional to watch a quarterback who you said earlier on isn't exactly on point with a lot of structure or whatever it is, but is creating himself a legacy already. I saw on Twitter, because I'm not calling it X, on Twitter today that he was announced that he's in the top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Do you think that's right?
Me? Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yes, without question. Sorry, I just want to make sure that it wasn't you weren't shooting that one to Tony first. Yes. I think he has holes in his game. And I know a lot of Bears fans don't want to hear that, but he does. He needs to work up on those layup shots. But I'm going back to Tony's point earlier, which is second year in the NFL, first year in Ben Johnson's offense. I know, and you guys know, there were drop passes. There were guys in the wrong place. DJ Moore was in the wrong place when Caleb threw that game-sealing interception.
Yep.
I don't, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy. Like, I don't love the conspiracy theories, but I do believe that it was a little bit easier to move on from DJ Moore to be like, buddy, you got to be where you're supposed to be. Like you won games for us. You'll never buy a beer or food in Chicago ever again. All you got to do is say, I'm DJ Moore, and any Bears fan within earshot is going to buy you whatever you want, right? Because you beat the Green Bay Packers twice, right? And so that part of it is awesome. But also, Caleb needed you to be somewhere else. And people much smarter than me that played quarterback in the NFL said, hey, he cut off his route. He didn't run the right route. And if he does, that's a completion. And maybe you're sending out Cairo Santos, Bears win the game over, Bears win. We're moving on to the next round. And so, I think that he's got a lot of stuff to work on, but he does the special more than anyone can do special if your name isn't Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. He's in rare air, as far as those guys go. And so, I think I'm very curious to see, can we see that efficiency start to sort of rise? But I think that it will, because everyone's going to start to be on the same page. And if you haven't bought in with Ben Johnson's offense, what are you doing? Right? Like, this guy is truly special, and he's a bit of a psychopath in all of the best ways possible. I've heard he's a nice guy, but that, he's not going to be warm and fuzzy to his players, because the NFL is not about being warm and fuzzy. It's about winning football games. I think he's the perfect mentor for Caleb Williams, and I'm stoked to see where these two go moving forward.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's going to be, that development as a football player as well. Like, not just making more completions or whatever. Because fair enough, if you look at the completion percentage, 2025's 58.1 went down from 62% in the previous season. Number of attempts went up slightly. Fair enough. But we also end up with an extra 400 yards at the back of it, sort of thing. Like, for me, I think there's a lot to it, and I think we sort of get caught up in the statistics a bit too much sometimes with this stuff. I think you need to be able to pass the smell test. You need to be able to pass the eye test. And listen, I would bang on about stats when I was trying to make an argument for QB change back in 2023 rather. But that was because the person who was there at the time, in my opinion, didn't pass the eye test. There was a lot of things there that weren't happening. There was a lot of big plays that weren't happening. Fair enough, he was kind of running about the place or whatever, but that was it. Whereas we've now got a guy who's a multi-dimensional quarterback, a guy who's able to do different things that we haven't had before, while still doing the stuff that we've had before, sort of thing. So for me, I think that the increase in stats will naturally come over a longer period of time. And I know we don't have loads of time. Well, we do, but in the reality of today's NFL world, we don't. But it'll naturally happen. The guy's getting more settled into his role. He's getting more used to playing in the system, playing with the guys around about him, playing in the NFL, growing as a person, growing as a quarterback. As you were talking about it there, Ryan, in terms of how he interacts with the other guys in the team. And I think he's really benefited from how Ben Johnson has interacted with him. He's not 100%. Holding him up on a pedestal and saying, you're the next coming of whatever. He's basically just saying, you're just like one of the other guys. You're like everybody else here, and you'll be treated the same, And I think that's been a great thing for him last season. So where are you with that sort of the stats thing?
Tony,
is it the be all and end all for you, or like is that a bigger picture?
No, Tony, I'm so glad you asked me this, because I was chomping at the bit to go after that. I don't think it's just about completion percentage. Like, go back and watch Philadelphia. Until the end of that game, he stunk, right? Like, he's missing open receivers. But again, my question comes back to how much is that they're all learning the offense, and this insanely complicated offense. It took a long time for the offense to sort of get going. Like, we look at any of the Green Bay games, right? Like, they have these slow starts. And I don't think that's just about completion percentage, which I think has just been talked about too much. But Tony, I love your point about, does he pass the eye test? At times he does, but I think there's some real inconsistencies in his game. Nobody does special. No Bears quarterback has ever done special like Caleb Williams has done special. But I do want to see a little bit more just like the dink and dunk, which I think that's why they got so many of these like speedy guys, Khalif Raymond, the kid
Thomas.
Out of what's that?
Thomas.
Yes.
Thomas.
And so, like, giving sort of those playmakers an opportunity to run a few more screens and things like that. But I don't think that's just about completion percentage. That's just about him sort of like not having to play Superman at the end of the game.
I have 2 points. 2 points on that. The one that stands out for me is Caleb is the the Green Bay game in the regular season, where Jadir Walker gets that unbelievable catch that'll be remembered. DJ Moore's remembered obviously for that game, but Jadir Walker's not going to have to buy a drink either. But what people forget is 2 plays before that, Zacchaeus is wide open in the corner of the end zone, and Caleb overthrows him. Had that touchdown happened, people wouldn't have been thinking that much. It'd have been all about the DJ Moore catch. But now Caleb then does, as you rightly say, the insane ability to see pressure, run out of pressure, run away pressure, trust his corner, throw the absolute perfect fadeaway, as Tom Brady would, said, into Jair Walker and creates a Chicago Bears moment, and creates that unbelievable feeling of moment that would be there. And I think that's the scenario that Caleb is there. The second one I want to say is about these percentages and about all these, what his completions or not. When his first year in the NFL, he was getting sacked more than anybody else. And I'm pretty sure Ben Johnson came to us and said, throw the ball away. Just throw it away, right? That goes against his statistics. That goes against his numbers. Oh, he's only had 11 out of 17 passes. But he's not behind the sticks. He's not being expected to be Superman. If it's not there, get rid of that ball. Do not take a sack. If you take a sack, that is 100% on you. Do not let that happen. And I think what has created at the very start of the season was Caleb's ability to go, okay, I'm not 100% comfortable here. Let's just get rid of this. And he was either firing it too high or he's firing out of just getting the ball away, and we live to fight another day. And as he got more used to the system, and this is why I'm so excited about the year coming, he got much more comfortable what he was doing. And he said in the presser, and when I was recently, he said he felt he was drowning at camp last year. And every single reporter at a camp this year was like, no, this is his team. This is his team. He's very much a completely different animal this year. He knows what he's doing. He's making sure people are in the right spots. And I think that's only going to make us better. It's also going to make our defense better in a weird way, because that's who they're going to be going up against every single week. And it's
time of
it's
possession.
We're going to have the ball a hell of a lot more than other teams. That's the way we're going to win.
So well said, Ant. Great points, dude. Great points.
Every so often, when I only have one can and one glass of wine, I seem to come up with these magic ideas.
Moments of clarity, and like they're few and far between.
They are few and far between. Normally, I just rant about Daz.
You're not drinking tonight, no?
I had one glass of wine and one beer because my girlfriend has left me. Not in that way. Has gone away on holidays for a week. So I haven't got my kids till the end of the week. So I'm on my own, which is just like the gorgeous, absolutely perfect. Okay. If Jennifer's listening, she's not. If she is, love you to bits, babe. Love my kids. All great. La la la. There is nothing better than just sitting back and watching absolutely nothing on TV, kind of bumming around and getting to talk to you guys about Bears football. I'm
on the Murphy tonight. Can I beat a can of Murphy's? Lovely.
Proper stout. I'm impressed.
All right. I like to mix up a wee bit.
I know. Well, I just finished whatever the hell that was, so it wasn't.
I gotta catch up, boys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
when you're coming on a Bear Down a Brawl podcast and you're sober, it's a tough.
Doesn't work well. To be fair, it's like 3:30 in the afternoon where you are, man. So I'm not going to prevent you too far.
we would be asking you questions. Your wife would be getting on to us going, "What have you done to my husband?" I get that.
She would understand. You're talking about the Bears. It usually causes people to drink, so yeah.
Well, it's better this time.
But looking at, I mean, the thing is, right? We talk about the stats and how it's not the be all and end all, and it isn't, but it's definitely part of the conversation because it has to be part of a wider conversation. There's no doubt about that. But even the bigger ones that sort of stand out for me in terms of the stats are yards per game. You know, so you're looking going from 208 to 231. Now it's not a huge jump, but it's a move in the positive direction. I think that's a big one for me as well. Yards per pass completion as well has went up from 10.1 to 11.9. So it's an extra couple of yards, which you say, it's not a big, an extra couple of yards can make all the difference when you're trying to get that third down conversion or whatever it is that you're looking for. But you mentioned it earlier on, the sack numbers. So 2024, Caleb Williams took 68 sacks, which is, I'm surprised they made it out with all these internal organs and some limbs there, but he did. Last season, 24 sacks. Do you know what I mean? That's a significant reduction there. Big part of that is the improvements made on the offensive line, but also the scheme change as well there. Putting your players in a position where Caleb Williams can get the ball out quicker or whatever it is that's happening, sort of thing. So, there's a lot of change going on there for definite, and I think the impact of the offensive line will be huge there. But on that subject, Ryan, we've had a change in the offensive line. how much do you think that's going to make it go the other way? Or do you think, is it going to have a significant impact? We can't go back to 68 sacks a season.
I don't think he will. I don't think that's in his DNA anymore. I think that there was so much offensive ineptitude when you had Eberflus and whoever the offensive coordinator was that week, that nobody knew what was going on or where the people were supposed to be. Ben Johnson is so much more intentional about what he wants. And the thing that Matt Nagy could call this, I think you guys will understand this. Matt Nagy could call good plays. He really could. He could draw up some really great plays, but he didn't build on things. Ben Johnson has setups. He's doing this a couple times a game. He's giving you some jabs so that he can right hook you in the fourth quarter, right? And I think that, I know we're talking about offensive line and sacks and all that sort of stuff, Tony, but I think they're very much connected in that I think Caleb knows what he's supposed to do, where he's supposed to be. The offensive line knows where they're supposed to block, where those guys are supposed to be. And I also think that if one of those guys has a free release, Caleb makes magic happen. He's going to know my receiver is going to be here that I want to go to. I want to go to Rome deep, but he's not there. Khalif is, 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. I could dump it down to him. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 12. Who knows? And I think that that's going to sort of help with this adjustment period of who's playing left tackle, who's playing center, what's going to sort of happen there. Bradbury, I had a buddy who's a diehard Vikings fan, and he kind of said, that in terms of the scheme, it makes a lot of sense, but just watch out for, big bull rush pass rushers just could knock him over. He's not a big dude, but that getting to the outside and kind of moving, which I think that's what Ben Johnson is going to do. He's going to have these guys moving. And the last thing I'll say is he has guys doing things that fit their skill set in a way that I can't remember any Bears offense ever having that.
And we've Dan Rocher as the offensive line coach. And I think that's a big, that's a big plus. We've actually got adults in the room, and I don't know how many times I've said on podcasts, Bears need adults in the room, and haven't had them, and now we've got adults on our coaching ticket, and we've got real quality. Harris is still there. We got real quality all over the field, all over the coaching ticket and on the field. I get the point on Bradbury. I think they pivoted quite well, Bradbury and Logan Jones. I think Logan Jones will, in 12 months' time, be the starting center for Chicago Bears. I think having the guards that we have, if they can stay fit in Tooney and Jackson, I think that will help. Braxton Jones, I'm not his biggest fan. Everyone would be able to say that. I'm not. But I think he will be okay. He will get us by. I think Ozzie Trapillo does come back at some point. Maybe it could be week 15, 16, but he comes back then and we'll take that over. But I think other teams in our division have much bigger question marks around their teams than we do. And I'm adamant that I find it hilarious people so confident in the Packers. Parsons not going back to week 7, lads, minimum. I know people are saying week 4, it's an ACL. He's not going back to week 4, 5, 6, and then he's going to take a couple of weeks to get back up. You've also got with Detroit, they lost their center, their guard, their left tackle. There's a lot of turbulence. They've got a new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Yeah, they've got an easier schedule, but I don't think that's going to take away from what's there. And Vikings have lost some players as well. So I think if you're looking at the 4 teams, the Bears have actually improved the most while losing key players as well. So I think the whole division probably comes down a step from where it was this time last year. But I think our offense is, I wouldn't want any other offense. I wouldn't want to go near anybody else's offense other than what we have, which is amazing considering we normally are looking at it going, can we try and hold a team to 10 points to win the game?
It's just been so hard to just watch ineptitude after, like, not just bad offenses, but historically bad offenses. You're watching like, hey, this half they have 24 yards, and you're just, that's being a Bears fan.
I keep going. Sorry for interrupting you, Ron. I keep going back. Whenever I think of the ineptitude, and I shouldn't really do it in an optimistic show, but I always remember a Kansas City game, and it was 2:00 in the morning Swedish time, and we were losing 35-3. And Nagy was the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. And I was like, I think I was texting Tony. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know if I can go on a show after this. Like, I watched the whole game. I went to bed around 5 a.m., but I was like, it was 35-10, and there was a guy called Bird, Darnell Bird, or some wide receiver Bird, scored a touchdown for the Bears, and he celebrated like he won the World Cup. And I'm like, dude, you're losing 42-3. Just calm down there. Just relax yourself. So yeah, so we've come a long way since then.
We deserve a good
we had low expectations and low standards. There's no doubt about that.
Low standards.
That was a sad point. No, I always remember it though. Like you'd have fans like losing their minds over players and training camp and guys, and like it's like, come on, you know, like aim higher. Fine, he's fine. This guy is fine, you know. And I'm not giving specific names. Daz Newsome, right? Daz Newsome is fine, but it was, you know, it was like, come on, guys, let's aim high. And the worst part was, you know, when that was happening, we would watch like Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football or whatever it was when the Bears are playing, and all they would do was replay things that happened 40 years ago, and they'd be like, Jesus, no, this again. Please stop talking about the 85 Bears. I'm actually fed up listening to it. Like, it's so bad that you have to. The best thing that you've done, you talk about it, is from 40 years ago. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that, for definite. Question I wanted to ask you guys as well, though, in terms of training camp coming up, and you know, looking ahead to training camp and, you know, the preseason games, and obviously the season as it starts as well. If we stick on the offense, is there anybody that's kind of sticking out to you as a possible sort of breakout candidate for the Bears, whether that be wide receiver, maybe a shock on the offensive line in terms of one of the new guys that's come in, tight end, whatever it is? If you guys had to pick one guy on the offense that you think is going to break out this season, and I use that in a very loose term, you know, so that could mean anything really. But I'll let you kind of put it in your own terms. But who would you go to? Whoever wants to answer first.
Ryan, go first, there, man.
I was gonna ask you to go first because I'm kind of curious. I think, you know, you asked for one name. I'm gonna give you two. A diehard Bears fan of mine, whose friend is just talking to people, talking to a Chicago Bears coach that I cannot name. I can't name drop here, but I won't. Xavier Thomas. He goes, just wait for this kid. He goes, he's going to be truly, truly special. Luther Burden III, like I was wrong about him. I got mad when the Bears drafted him. I was like, why are we drafting another wide receiver when you need pass rusher, you need this, you need that? And I'm sorry, now I'm giving you three names. But truly, like,
all the guys, yeah,
I know.
You're coming on again, Ryan. Jesus.
That's the last show of Ryan Dengel.
All right, no, then never mind. I won't say the third name because
I'm joking.
Just go.
Sam Roush, every person I have talked to about the Bears' new tight end has said he's the best blocking tight end, but that he was so underutilized as a pass catcher that don't be shocked if start of the season they just use him as sort of that H-back blocking tight end, that sort of guy. But then all of a sudden one game they're going to throw to him like 5 or 6 times and he's going to have like 2 touchdowns or something along those lines. I'm just store that one for like mid to late season. I just got this feeling that they're going to use 3 tight end sets like no one has ever used 3 tight end sets before.
Yeah, I totally agree with all the names there, 100%. I'm going to throw 2 what I would say that are under the radar ones right now that might excite people at camp, but also might excite Mike. Once they get onto the 53 in the case of one of them, and if he gets on the 53, expect to see a lot, and that's tight end Hayden Large. I just think this tight end group is going to be insane anyway, and I think the Bears are going to have 13 personnel. They're going to have everything coming out, and this kid, if you watch his tape, is just he's a great blocker. That's his number one thing. Very good special teamer, really good team person. At the university he was at, are raving about him, and there's something I think there if the Bears want to have that way. And the other one that excites me the most, I said it, Xavier Thomas is what I was going to say, is Khalif Raymond. I can't wait to see what that kid, he's not a kid anymore. I love his attitude. I love his comments, like where he would say that he'd see a Detroit Lions player doing jugs machine for 200 catches and he wanted to do 201. And that he did all the injuries he had growing up and he still battled his way into where he is at the moment. and he's our kick returner. And we had a solid kick returner last year. I think this kick returner could get us some touchdowns, and I think you'll see that. But I think from an offensive position, I think those two are the under the radar ones that I think, if in the case of Large, if he gets onto the 53, I think he could surprise some people. Tony, yourself, we've taken everybody. Who are you left
Sorry,
with?
Tony.
Yeah.
Don't say sorry to Tony. Don't ever apologize to Tony. Don't ever hold back.
So I would say like I don't think you're going to have a breakout candidate in terms of a guy that's going to be, a guy that's just come into the team necessarily. I think, with any of these players, they need time to sort of settle in. I'm looking at guys that are in 2-3 years at this point that have done really well. But when I'm talking about breakout, for me, I'm talking about grabbing the bull by the horns and cementing your place as the number one person in your position group on the roster. And for me, I'm looking at Kel Monungai, long term taking over from Swift, being that number one guy. And they're very different running backs, absolutely. But for me, I think Kel Monungai can do it all. I think he had a great season last year. I think it's then, can you then break out and go from that level to that level? And for me, I think he's an ideal number one candidate for making a huge impact on this team, given more opportunities than he had last year, given more snaps. I mean, inevitably, Swift is going to be the number one to begin with. And I think Swift is going to be great as well, incidentally. But in terms of making that next step up and breaking out, that way the guys don't have to think, right, next season, who are we going with? Like, maybe Swift goes at that point and Monungai's your main guy. And I think that's sort of where you're going to go with that. I think another option would be Romadunzi, because obviously last year we focused in on Luther Burden and the sort of rise that he had a wee bit. And I think sometimes that, especially this summer, people are sort of forgetting about Romadunzi a little bit. And that, he's maybe going to drop down. I don't see it. I think he's a phenomenal talent. And I think, again, with him, it's just a case of, can he kind of take advantage of the opportunities and things like that. So for me, those two guys offensively really stand out to me. But absolutely, I think, Ryan, you mentioned Luther Burton. I think he's going to be I think him and Roma Dunzi are our 1 and 2, moving forward now for the next wee while. Obviously, we've got the great tight end setup as well, which really, really helps. But listen, this offense just really, really excites me. I don't think there's anything we can't do with this offense. And I think we can beat anybody. Like, on our day, we can beat anybody with that offense. It's just the defense. Can we not concede as many points as we have? And also, can we get going before the fourth quarter? So,
do you guys know that the Kyle Monungai, the video that the guy put out, that it's like the Lion King, Kyle Monungai.
Brilliant.
They played that in the stadium every time he had a first down. And dude, you're just like, I love the Bears like the social media team and all those guys. Like, that's so wonderful. Tony, great picks, man. Great picks.
I must admit that one is right up there. What was the other one I'd seen that they had? They had the guy with the cheese grater, and they had him on the TV all the time, and he brought his block of cheese and his grater. I'm assuming every single Bears, it'll just be cheese everywhere on Soldier Field when the Packers come next time. And isn't it great that for us, there's so many positions on our offensive outfit that are better than everybody else in our division? I've never been able to say that. I think we've got a better offensive coach, a better offensive mind, the best offensive mind. We've got the best quarterback. We've got the best running team. We got the best guard easily. They got the best right tackle. I think Penny Sewell's going to go to left, so that's where that's going to go move there. I think we got the best wide receiving room. I think we got the best tight end room. I mean, it's insane as a Bears fan to watch this. And if we were to go out and get, before week 1, a blockbuster trade or a big move to last free agency at edge or defensive line, I think we suddenly elevate ourselves to something unbelievably special. My God, it's flown by, Tony. 54 minutes. Poor Ryan.
What happens when you're having fun, man?
It is. It's brilliant. Before we move off the Bears, do we have anything else? I've got one question, actually. We do have one question from Crooked Commish. I wonder what he's talking about. Who do you think will lead the team in interceptions this year? Tony, I'll start with you on that one. Give Ryan a break.
It's hard to. So the automatic would say Jalen Johnson, but then people tend not to target Jalen Johnson too much. Then I'm looking back over the other side of the ball. Is Tariq Stevenson a guy that I think is going to be someone who would get that sort of like high level sort of numbers? I don't know. I mean, I think I'd probably go with one of the safeties. Probably go with Kobe Bryant, maybe. I think Thieneman. I'm not going to put too much pressure on him because Dylan, I know you're watching. Like maybe you can be the
come
number.
come on the show, then.
Listen, he's always asking me, but I think you can be number 2, and you can be number 1 next year. You know, but yeah, listen, I think a guy like Bryant can come in and absolutely do something in that role, and we're losing a lot in terms of interception stats from all the guys that have dropped off in the last few months as well. So someone's going to step up and do it. So listen, challenge everybody in the roster to be that guy. But for me, I'd probably go with one of the safeties.
What do you think? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Bryant probably for sure. But you know what? Let's have some fun. Thieneman. I'm going to say rookie does it. Rookie shocks everybody and is leading the team in interceptions because that kid's a stud. How can you not love that pick? Like everything about that pick. They needed a safety. It's one of the top safeties. Yeah, I'm going to say Thieneman. Why not?
You went with the safeties. I'm going to throw a left field pick because that's unusual for me. I'm going to go with Devon Bush, the linebacker, and I'm going to give my reasoning behind it. It goes back to what I said at the very start. I think we're going to be rushing from everywhere. We're going to put pressure on quarterbacks from everywhere. So therefore, our quarterback is going to just try and get rid of it. And I think you'll find, you looked at what he was doing last year with the Browns. He seemed to always get his hands on the ball, and he did a couple of pick sixes, and he's around that. He's everything that we wanted Tremaine Edmonds to be, and Tremaine Edmonds is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dishing him, but I think Bush is that little bit quicker, a little bit more connected to the ball. So I think you might see his hands on the ball a lot more. I agree totally with what you said, Tony. I think people avoid Jalen Johnson. So they won't throw it to him. So whoever's on the other corner, whether it be Malik Muhammad, whether it be Tariq Stevenson, or I think it'll be Stevenson, or Terrell Smith, or whoever it is, I think they'll get more opportunities with the ball in the air. And the safeties will cover up for a lot of faults, and we're able to play such different way in our backfield because of what we've added and because of what we got. Don't underestimate that kid they got. I think it was the 4th or 5th, Kayshawn Elliott as well. He's a big stud boy as well. He's gonna be liked by the fans. He's gonna get a lot of nice reps. So yeah, that should be fun times. It should be fun times. So before we go any further, we're going to do a thing that we usually do in the summertime, which is a look back at a random story in the newspapers. What age am I online or anywhere that you've seen in the world that is nothing to do with anything, but it made you laugh or made you chuckle. As you were the guest, Ryan, I did warn you this in advance, so I let you come up. What story that caught your eye in the world that made you go, that was funny?
Oh man, can you come back to me? Is that okay?
Tony,
I got
just a question there. Like, do people still read newspapers? Do you read a newspaper, and do you buy one?
No, I don't.
No.
I wish I did. I used to read a very boring newspaper when I lived in London, but not anymore.
Aye. It's the problem is I don't trust the majority of them. That's the biggest part.
Actually,
Crooked Commish, thanks for subbing, man.
Do what Crooked Commish did, and you know what? Forget your newspapers. Sub up to the show, get involved, follow the show online, get involved with everything. I love it. Ryan is bringing back some of the oldies as well. Love it. I'm very impressed. So, are you stalling for time there, Tony? Is that what you were doing with that question?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't got a story for this week. I didn't actually.
I
didn't pay much attention to the world this week, so I'll let you crack on with yours, man.
I'll give you my story. I'll give you something. So, in Ireland recently, there was a football game or a soccer match, which was between McGregor falling over and breaking his leg after 2 seconds was very funny. But the soccer match was between Shelburne and Celtic, Tony Celtic, in a friendly game in the League of Ireland last week. And the game was over, finished 1-1, and the man of the match was a guy called Sean Gannon from Shelburne. And the official sponsor of the game was a company called Chadwick's, which do DIY products and do all these things. So, man of the match awards are usually medals, or they're usually like a t-shirt, or they're usually something that... No, Chadwick's decided to present Mr. Gannon on the field a full-size chainsaw for him to go home with and use at his disposal. And there is a fantastic photograph, which I don't have, but you please go on to Shelburne Football Club's official website, of Chadwick's MD, managing director, presenting Mr. Gannon with a big, massive chainsaw for being man of the match between Shelburne and Celtic. Absolutely Irish in every way.
That's fantastic.
Isn't it?
I mean, that's not like... See, the thing is, right, I think it would be great to be a guy who can do all these, man of the match or MVPs or whatever you want, but what do you do with all these awards? They're paperweights and doorstops eventually. I mean, a chainsaw, though. I mean, that's the gift that keeps on giving. You can use that all the time.
Well, let's ask the Chicago man, right? What would be the award, right, for a Bears player? Caleb Williams wins player of the game or MVP or whatever it's called, MVP of the match. What's the Chicago brand that you could think that would match Chadwick's chainsaw?
I mean, like, can you get a lifetime subscription to Wiener Circle or something like, like getting like yourself some hot dogs or something? But just as a side, like, I don't know if you guys saw, I have a huge piece of property. We literally bought a yard with a house that kind of, sits on the property. Giant tree. And I'm talking, this thing is massive. It fell. They gave me a chainsaw. I would be elated. Like, bro, I'm going to actually use that. Like, you're right. As opposed to like some little like metal, like, oh, cool. That's cool. Thanks. Appreciate it.
That's what Sean Gannon said. The only problem he had is putting it into his car to get it home. I believe it was an electric chainsaw. I feel like I'm a sponsor for Chadwick's at the moment, but yeah, I believe it was an electric chainsaw.
I don't like the electric chainsaws, man. You need to plug them in and walk about with a plug. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's got to be the petrol ones. The petrol ones are the best.
This podcast has changed in every single direction I could think of. No, we got to look it up and see if we can find a product in Chicago. Like I don't know. Yeah, I like lifetime supply to Wiener Circle isn't bad. Or like, I don't know. I remember there was a rugby player in Munster when I worked there that if he scored 3 tries, he got a life supply of Domino's pizza. So much so, he scored 2 and he refused to pass the ball until he scored the 3rd one to get his life-size or his lifetime pizzas for him and his family. A guy called Anthony Foley. It was pretty mad. I think do we have anything else before we move on?
I have nothing.
I don't think I can beat a chainsaw.
That's it.
Chainsaw wins. Yeah. Chadwick's, congratulations. Chadwick's, if you want to come on and sponsor the Bear Down Abroad podcast and send all of us chainsaws, including to Chicago, I'm sure Ryan will promote Chadwick's in Chicago, which means nothing, but you get my point.
Done. Yeah.
Dave on here.
That's brilliant.
Got booked, got injured, stretched it off, and didn't even play. That was quite unfortunate for the fella, to be honest with you.
Did you hear that?
But it was also quite amusing as well.
It was hilarious.
Man, I've been watching as many games as I possibly can, and I think literally every team I have cheered for has lost. So whoever I'm cheering for, in the semis, like, they're gonna lose. So I'm not even gonna say it. Yeah, literally every team.
Me and Tony are gonna say you have to support England then. Sorry, Dave, but me and Tony.
I wasn't going to be the one to say it.
Yeah, we're all Argentinians over here.
I lost about 5 followers the other day because I made a comment about it. So, what can you do? What can you do?
I lose followers every day.
It's all in good,
just random comments I make. I lose call. Ryan, thank you so much, brother, for jumping on the show. I really appreciate. Want to leave a little note about this. I sent a message out to a bear group that I have that Ryan was so unbelievably connected to. Was involved way back in the day, and Ryan got me on starting my journey of podcast land, and we all stayed really, really good friends, and still do message each other as much as we possibly can. So I sent the message out to them because I thought Tony might have been on holidays, and said, do you know what, will anybody like to come on and join me? And there was definitely silence from all those bastards that didn't want to come on, except for good old Mr. Dengel, who Ryan jumped on. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Who are these bastards? Who are they? Name them and shame them.
I named them. Dave Porter, Ozzy,
He's in the comments. You can't give Dave a hard time. He's literally he's chilling in the comments right now. The other guys, yeah, maybe a little bit.
I give Dave that. I'll hold him back. And Ozzy lives in like a zone that's probably 4 o'clock in the morning right now. I get that.
Yeah, he's just waking up. No, Tony.
And we had Noel on recently. I know I'm just moaning and ranting.
Boys, like truly, I think you need to understand, like, I really missed it. You know, I don't miss the grind of promoting and editing and posting and doing all those sorts of things, but I do miss talking Bears, and it's always great talking with you guys. I mean, just like your wealth of knowledge. It was good conversation, and I love how you're always willing to play oppo and have good discourse, man. Because nobody wants to sit around and listen to a podcast where everybody agrees. It's boring. Right. And so, no, I just, boys, truly, truly appreciate you. Shout out to my guys. They're on Chicago podcast. Okay. What's Tony? I'm so sorry, man. I cut you off. What'd you say?
No, I was just going to say I disagree entirely with everything you're saying.
Yeah. You're wrong.
Just for
give a shout out to your guys as well, Ryan. Give a shout out to your boys that you haven't spoken to.
Oh, dude, I just think, it's some Brendan, Jack, Logan, Cam and Shells. Like, I miss those guys. And we still have a thread. We still talk Bears every once in a while, but just shout out to them. Shout out to TJ Brooks. He's the realist. And just to you guys, thank you so much. Like, truly, for having me on. I appreciate you very, very much.
Well, we're gonna do watch alongs at game times this season. So if you're bored at halftime in a game or 10 minutes, you want to watch me lose my mind and then get put up on Packers Twitter accounts, because they've all promised me that when I do this, they are coming for me. Because I regularly.
It's gonna happen, buddy.
I watch that Packers meltdown at least once a week. Do you know the one with the scraggly hair dude from Cheesy?
All of them.
Cheese, whatever.
I watch them all.
It's when I feel down, like Jennifer's looking at me going, "You're not putting on that Packers thing," and yes, I am. Play just from. I fast forward to a certain point when it's like when he misses the field goal and from dead on. I just watch.
I had to watch Aaron Rodgers versus Chris Conti over and over and over and over again. They have to watch that. They have to watch. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm not sorry. Like, it's flipped, and it's fun that it's flipped. So.
It's joyful. Well, we're not around.
Horrible memory there in my head, man.
Yeah, you've nearly killed me with that.
DJ Moore, touchdown, Bears win.
Yes.
Jenny Walker.
Exactly.
We're not around next week, unfortunately, because we've got lives. We're both going on holidays. Tony's away, wherever he is. I got my little kids. But we'll be back the week after, and then we're full into training camp. We're full into player stuff. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you follow Ryan. Really, really great Bears guy to be involved with. Follow Tony. Follow me if you want. And until we get back next time, are you ready to hit the button, Tony?
Yeah.
1, 2. Bear down, brothers.
Cheers.